Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Barcelona have just defeated Valencia 2-1 at the Mestalla to claim their first win of the La Liga season. That is one of 38 done. The first official game of the Hansi Flick era, and Barca get the W in one of the most hostile environments in all of Spanish football. And the performance today to me was a little bit shaky, but again, you take the result. The last two seasons, we failed to win our first game of the year. You guys remember 2 years back, Xavi's second season in charge, we drew against Rayo Vallecano. Last season, we drew against Getafe in that crazy game. This season, we start off with 3 points, which is obviously going to be very, very needed because, you know, to keep pace with Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, you gotta start collecting points early, man. So I'm really, really happy with the result. And I like the way that the team played overall. You can see the philosophy is there. It just needs to be polished a little bit. And, you know, there's still some players. We have a lot of players who are out. They're obviously going to help the Hansi Flick system a lot more. Guys like Araujo. Pedri obviously came in the second half. Gavi's still not healthy. Frankie de Jong is still not healthy. Gundogan didn't play today. We're missing most of our key players, most of our key starters. A lot of our best players are missing. But it's still, like I said, in a hostile environment, to go in and get the win like that is very, very impressive in my opinion. I thought Barca today played a decent game. I thought Barca deserved the win today. I think Barca deserved the win today. That first half was good in my opinion. It was a little bit shaky at times, but it was good. Obviously, we nearly conceded 2 goals. We were nearly down 1-0, 2-0, sorry, because once Valencia scored that goal, which by the way was just a terrible defensive mistake. People were blaming Mats, and yeah, Mats wasn't great today in my opinion. Nearly cost us, like I said. That second goal that Barca nearly conceded when Kubarsi cleared it off the line, that was because of Ter Stegen and like just I don't know what the fuck he was doing. But again, that first half, it was shaky at times. It was shaky at times defensively. We weren't great. But again, to me, look, I don't think Íñigo Martínez should be playing a lot of minutes for this team. Íñigo Martínez today, to me, he was terrible in that goal that Barca conceded. He's just not really a Barca player. He's a good backup option. But if you want Íñigo Martínez starting games for you week in and week out, you're going to concede a lot of goals because he's just simply not that level of player. Last year coming off the bench, he had some good appearances. But again, he's good coming off the bench. He's a good squad player, no more than that. As a starter, he should not be starting. And again, I think we saw it today. I don't think he did one thing well. I can't remember one thing that Íñigo Martínez did in this game that he did well. He was awful today. And that goal from Barca, like I said, people are going to blame Ter Stegen. It was just a defensive mishap. Just Barca's positioning overall on that back line was terrible. But again, the team rallied, man. The team rallied, didn't put their heads down, and they went in and got that goal. They got that, obviously, goal right before halftime, which was much needed. If Barca don't get that goal right before halftime, I don't know if they win this game. But again, Balde, with time and space, finally, oh my God, thank you, Lord. Balde finally sends in a good cross because Balde, one thing about him that we all know as Barca fans, if you've been watching him for a really long time, he doesn't really ever send in a cross that finds a Barca player. It's like he's doing the Squid Games when he sends in a cross. He's just fucking blind, okay? Is that the Squid Games? No, it's the Bird Box, right? Is it what the fuck? I just said Squid Games. Bird Box. Was that the show on Netflix where they had the blindfold on? Anyway, it looks like he's wearing a blindfold and it looks like he's Stevie Wonder sending in a cross. That's better. That makes more sense. Okay, but today he actually found obviously Lamine Yamal at the back post, and Lamine Yamal squares it to Robert Lewandowski, and Robert Lewandowski does his job as a number 9, which is to put the ball in the back of the net with no goalkeeper, literally a foot obviously in front of the goal. So good for Lewandowski for getting his tap in today. I'm proud of you, Lewa. Honestly, you earned your renegade today. You earned that renegade in the locker room. I'm sure he's filming it right now. I'm sure whoever's filming him is very, very happy. I wish it could be me filming his renegade right now, but it's not me. Obviously, he fired me for reasons that I cannot get into because I signed an NDA. But again, I'm happy for Lewa, that he's doing his renegade. Obviously, Lewa got a double today, also scored a penalty. A tap in and a penalty. Again, people are going to come here and say that Lewandowski, I owe him an apology because obviously you guys know that I just joked about it briefly there. I'm not the biggest Lewandowski fan. If you're new to this channel, you'll find that out very quickly. I think he's beyond washed, and I think he's a guy who is going to hold this team back a lot this year. Again, Lewandowski last year we saw as well. He can have times where he's performing really, really well, but I think for the most part, he's a subpar player at this point in his career. Again, historically, he's one of the best strikers that I've ever seen, but right now for Barcelona, I think we could do better in that position. And again, a tap in and a penalty isn't really moving me. Again, good for him. He scored his goals, but I think Lewandowski's a guy who, you know, he can have moments like this, like I said, but for the most part today, I don't think he was great. I don't think his overall game was really that productive in my opinion. But again, I think Barca today had really good performance in that front line. Lamine Yamal, I mean, he wasn't amazing today. He was really, really good today, but he wasn't like we saw Lamine at the Euros. Obviously, his first game back playing with Barca, but I still think he had a lot of good moments in this game. I thought Rafinha was class today. I think Rafinha was class today. Was switching sides, started off on the left, then went over to the right. I think Rafinha is a guy who this team needs. Barcelona needs a guy like Rafinha. Is he the best at taking on his defender one-on-one? No, but Rafinha is a guy who can provide so many things for you on the pitch, and we saw it today, man. He's a very creative player. He's a guy who loves to get into the box, who loves to make things happen. And I think Rafinha played really, really well today, honestly. I think he had a really, really good game, and I'm happy for him. I think Koundé had a really good game as well. I think Koundé was a standout player for Barca. I think the two pivots in Bernal and Casado both had really good games, especially Casado. Marc Casado today was fantastic, bro. I was really skeptical coming into this game when I first saw the lineup. I didn't see Christensen, and I was like, oh my God, we're really going to throw in the youth in this game, right? We're going to throw in the youth. We're going to put in Bernal and Casado at the Mestalla in the first game of the La Liga season. They're going to make their debut in this game, which I thought was crazy from Hansi Flick to do. But I think Hansi Flick maybe saw something from those guys in training that, you know, we didn't see in the preseason. And again, I think both of them impressed a lot in the preseason, most notably Bernal. But again, it's different playing against Man City and fucking Orlando than playing against Valencia and the Mestalla. And today I think they both held their own really, really well. I think they both showed that they have the ability to help the Barca team this season. Again, they're young, so they're going to come and go. So there's going to be games where Bernal and Casado don't play that well. Bernal today looked shaky at times. You know, there was times in possession where he wasn't really looking that great. Casado, for the most part, I think he played a nearly flawless game, honestly. But again, these two guys are going to have ups and downs because that's what happens with young players. You know, it's very rare that you get a young player like Lamine Yamal who's very constantly great, or Pau Kubarsi who's just like their constant is just being great. But again, I think we see that if you give them the task of, you know, of playing and starting, they can help you out. They can help you out. And again, I like that. Again, I don't like the fact that Barca are basically not going to sign a pivot because they're relying on two youngsters from La Masia. But again, we saw that if you trust those players and you give them, if you give them the keys to the keys to the car, they're not going to crash it. And today, Bernal and Casado did not crash the car. They actually, you know, brought it back perfectly. They brought it back with a full tank of gas, to continue the analogy with the car, right? So I think both of them looked really, really good. I also think that Pedri, when he came on, obviously, first of all, I want to say this. I wasn't really fond of Pedri coming on because I think Barca have to prioritize Pedri's health. This is a guy who has been, you know, his whole career has been basically, the story of Pedri's career is injuries. You know, so much potential, but always injured. And I think this is a guy who we saw get injured at the Euros like a month back. And then today for him to be coming into the second half, again, I understand that Hansi Flick maybe knew, like, I think that Barca's medical staff was like, okay, you know what, he's good to go because I don't think Barca were going to risk it. And they thought that Pedri was a little bit compromised in terms of his health. But again, I would have loved to see Pedri maybe rest this game. But again, when he came in, you saw that Barca controlled the game a lot more. Who else haven't I talked about yet? Ferran Torres is just not a good player, honestly. Ferran Torres is a guy who, if Dani Olmo would have been in that position today, he would have been so much better. That's a game where you could honestly have used Dani Olmo. I know he's obviously not match fit yet. I'm expecting him to be ready for the game next week against Bilbao. But Dani Olmo is a guy who, you know, would have done a lot better than Ferran Torres. Ferran Torres is just not a good player. That's part of my frustration with the whole Vitor Roque thing. We continue to hold on to guys like Ferran Torres who shows you week in and week out he's not to the level of Barcelona. By far and away, the two worst players on the pitch today were Ferran and Inigo Martinez. They were the worst players on the pitch today. And again, I don't think Ferran is a guy who you should be relying on to play minutes for you because he missed a couple chances today. His decision making was poor. Not a good player in my opinion. Just I've had enough of the Ferran Torres experiment. Again, he was getting booed at Valencia, which is obviously his boyhood club. This is a guy who said that at one point in his career he wants to go back to Valencia. I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon because again they booed the fuck out of him. I thought Koundé had a really, really good game. I don't think I talked about Koundé yet, but if I have, then I'm gonna talk about him again because Jules Koundé deserves recognition, bro. Jules Koundé has been one of the best right backs in the world for the past couple seasons now. And you know, we Barca fans, we know that, but I feel like the football public doesn't understand how good Koundé really is. He's so consistently great. Koundé drops an 8 out of 10 at worst most games. Yes, he has stinkers every now and then, but at worst, he's dropping an 8 out of 10. He's so consistently great. I think today he was excellent. Again, I think the Barca team as a whole, I didn't even say whore. I think the Barca team as a whole didn't look bad, man. Like you see the signs of this new system, like the positionless players were moving in and out of position, like occupying different spaces on the pitch. It's there, but the philosophy from Hansi Flick is there. We can see it. But again, once you get your key players back, your star players back, and you don't have all these youngsters on the pitch, it's going to look a lot more. It's going to look a lot better and a lot more polished because you have players who have more experience, who are just better on the ball and better technically. So again, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Barca are going to win the league going away because if you guys watch my video, I didn't predict Barca to win the league. I think Real Madrid are going to win the league. But I think that this Barca team, once they get fully healthy, they have a chance to do some damage, man, in multiple competitions. I do believe in this Barca team because I believe we have really, really good players. Again, the pivot is a question mark for Barca, and it has been for the last couple of years. But I think that, you know, last year we were relying mostly on Romeo and on Christensen to play that role. This year we have these two young kids from La Masia and Bernal and Casado who again proved today that, you know, the spotlight wasn't too big for them. And again, it's gonna change. It's like I said multiple times already. It's like a roller coaster. You're gonna have good games and bad games from those two guys because again they're still kids. But today, I mean, doesn't get much bigger than that. Making your La Liga debut at the Mestalla against Valencia. You know, it took some balls to play the way that they played. So I'm really, really happy, mostly for Bernal and Casado again. So overall for me, I'm happy with the game today. I'm happy that football is back. And I'm happy that, Hansi Flick today, it was so cool. I was telling people in the chat, by the way, if you came out to the stream, shout out to you guys, man. That was one of the best streams we've ever done. The first stream of the season. I appreciate you guys so much, man. Everybody who came out and supported. Again, it means so much to me. Thank you guys so much for all the support. But like I said on the stream, it was so cool to see another manager get a yellow card. Like seeing the Valencia manager get a yellow card and not seeing our manager get a yellow card, because I was so used to every time the ref would go over to the touchline, he was booking Xavi, he was booking Oscar, he was booking someone on Xavi's staff. And today to see that it wasn't a guy on Xavi's staff, on Hansi Flick's staff, or it wasn't Hansi Flick, better yet, it was just amazing to watch. And again, I'm not trying to shit talk Xavi because the guy is a Barca legend and a guy who helped us a lot. But again, you see the difference in demeanor at times. So I'm sure Hansi Flick at some point will lose his cool and get a yellow card, but it wasn't like Xavi where it's always like you're just holding your breath and hoping that he's not getting booked and he's not getting sent off. But yeah, man, the Flickanator era has arrived, has started. The Flickanator looked good. The Flickanator is a guy who I believe in, who I will back. And I think once, like I said, once we get our key players back, this team is going to look a lot better. And it's just going to be a really, really fun season, in my opinion, because you can see the makings of a really good football team. You can see the makings of a really good philosophy. It just needs to be polished. He needs to grow into his team, learn his players a little bit more. By the way, Balde was good today. Balde was really, really good today. In that first half, he was really, really, really good. Obviously, had the cross. I think Balde was good today. Obviously, had a couple injury scares, but I did not want to go this video without mentioning Alejandro Balde, who today to me was a standout player. Again, I think for the most part, the team played well, except for Inigo and Ferran, and those two guys are not guys that I'm personally as a Barca fan relying on or hoping that or thinking that they're going to play significant minutes. But yeah, man, what an amazing day. Happy for Barca, happy that we get the 3 points. We'll see what Real Madrid does tomorrow and how the Liga race obviously starts off. But yeah, I could not be happier. Congratulations to Hansi Flick, the Flickanator, my coach. I'm so happy for him. And yeah, man, Visca Barca, and I'll catch you guys. Let me know your thoughts, by the way, on the game down below, what you thought, what you liked, what you didn't like. Let me know your thoughts overall. Ter Stegen, I mean, look, I think we got to find a replacement. We got to find a replacement for Ter Stegen, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, man, I love every single one of you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.